But you know, my new policy with making videos is, I was kind of experimenting with this, like in the Paris videos, is like trying to never let the video process get in the way of the actual experience. Right. All right, the classic Yarka here. This label shows like when it's made, and yeah, 1994. I know it has that old school look to it though.
It's got the tin. Most of them are wood inside, I think.
Oh, what's the tin?
It's the tin lining instead of having like a wood compartment in there.
And is it heavy? Like how much?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's
does it have a handle on it?
It says right there actually. It says it weighs 11 pounds.
Oh, 11. Okay, 11 pounds. Yeah.
It usually has a strap. But,
oh, I see.
Strap.
How do you carry it?
Just carry it like this.
All right, man. We're gonna get to see that thing in action today. I love it. Most of the activity back in the day, there was so much activity on the East Coast, and the West Coast was sort of overlooked, I think. You know, you had the California Impressionists and stuff, but I don't think they were as...
Like, how much traction were they getting when they were, like, back in the day when they were around? You know?
I don't think they were getting that much recognition because California back then was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there was a big art market back here, whereas New York was kind of the center. There was a lot going on there. Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago. That cobalt's so hard to squeeze out.
I know, I think I'm putting it in the wrong spot. I know, I don't even have a cap for this, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like
it's not going anywhere.
No.
I'm going through what you were going through with phthalo, except that it's happening for me with titanium white. It's just everywhere. Did you manage to get all the phthalo off? No, I see some on your arm right there.
Yeah.
That's it, dude. You've been, oh yeah. Okay. See, that's the phthalo life right there.
No joke.
There's no getting away from it. All right, breaking out the classic cotton masterpiece. You say these were from Fredericks, is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right, cool. So we're both painting on stretch canvas today. So we got the Anderson easel set up here, and yeah, we're both painting on 16 by 20 inch stretched canvases. And I'm thinking of making something of this scene right here. And what I like is the fact that there's like strong, simple shapes because it is backlit or contre-jour, which Ariah just informed me means against the light. And I'm gonna have to, you know, kind of lighten these mountains here, maybe make them a little bit more blue to push them back. You have your idea figured out?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can get that, but that's kind of my idea.
Oh yeah, I think so. Okay, cool. Which is right over here. So we both decided to skip toning today. I mean, we're sketching in burnt sienna, but gonna go, you know, just paint on a blank white canvas. And right now I'm just looking, you know, for a big, you know, like big shapes and a nice arrangement of shapes. And now I'm going to become a little more specific with these shapes of the mountains in the background. Let's see, there's these oaks in the foreground. And then the land kind of slopes down, and I think I want to, you know, feature some of these yellow trees. Not even sure if you can see them off in the distance, but, you know, have some kind of interest over here. And I may just use like this bush over here as a color reference. Is it just pure alizarin and mineral spirits?
Yeah, yep.
I love that. Like actually having a pink sketch can be kind of cool too. Like those little bits of pink coming through.
It can. I'm going to try to get the patterns so the lines all flow together, and then I'm going to maybe go over it with burnt sienna once I have things more formalized.
So I've got a number 10 rosemary natural bristle flat that Ariah gave me for Christmas. Very kind of him. So I'm going to use this today. All right, so I noticed in the dark part of the trees, it's sort of an olive green. So I've used a mixture of ultramarine blue, some burnt sienna, and a touch of yellow ochre. As usual, squinting at the subject. And I don't want to cover the whole canvas. I want to leave little areas of sky showing through. Ariah, is this the brush that you use most frequently? It's really nice. It's like so soft and like holds a lot of paint.
I do, but number 8 I think is the one I use most frequently.
Yeah, number 8s are like invaluable. That's kind of one I use the most. But this one's fine. Like if you turn it on edge, you can kind of get like, you know, smaller, you know, you can make smaller shapes or whatever. Okay, and I'm basically just looking for an interesting, you know, shape there. All right, so I've added some titanium white to the tree mixture here. It's kind of like a bluish gray. I'm going to use that as my starting color for these mountains in the background. I have a feeling I'm going to need to lighten them up a bit, just because I want less contrast between the trees and these mountains, even though in real life the value is very close, but I want to push them back a bit. Okay, so for the sky, I'm just going to go with titanium white and ultramarine blue. Didn't quite clean my brush, so there's a bit of green in there, but I think it's okay. I'm going to come over this color with thicker paint. You know, that's another thing I've noticed using a larger brush, is that you don't you don't have to like wash it out. You can just squeeze out the color, because you're mixing bigger piles of paint, so the little bit of dirt that's in the paint or in the brush doesn't corrupt the color you're mixing. Does that make sense? For sure. It's like, but if you've got a small brush and you're mixing up a small amount of paint, you know, and you've got a dirty brush, it just ruins the color so fast. Yeah, and so I used to worry like that I would have to like, oh, do I have, you know, I need a big enough brush washer for a large brush, but I don't actually use the brush washer that much at all. I'll just squeeze the paint out of it and mix up another color. And now I'm going to paint this sky reflection in the water, so adding a little bit more ultramarine, because typically the reflections sort of go towards a mid-tone. So in other words, the lights get darker and the darks get lighter. So the sky is pretty light, but I'm going to darken a little bit. You're already getting, it's already like,
It's already overwhelming.
It's already overwhelming? And that's why I like this, you know, the contre-jour thing. It's like, it just makes the shape so simple, but then the challenge is like kind of, you know, creating interest within those shapes. But I'm gonna come over and take a look in a second. All right, the reflections of the tree, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the reflections of the trees are really warm. It's like a darker blue or green up top, and then in the water, it's like a lot more yellow in that. More yellow and more burnt sienna. You know, if this doesn't work out, I'll just say, look, what do you guys, I'm not a nature painter, I'm a seascape painter.
Exactly. I reserve the right to...
I reserve the right to absolutely fail here.
suck at this one.
You know, one thing I'm noticing about painting on the white canvas, there's a lot of luminosity, because like you can still see when it's transparent, you can see some of that, the brightness of the canvas coming through. I like that. Also, it's not graying down the colors. Like when I mix over a damp burnt sienna, the burnt sienna mixes in particular into the blues and kind of grays them down, because it's like the complement of blue. Sometimes I rely on that, you know, the fact that things get grayed down. It can be kind of a nice thing.
So good.
I mean, thanks. There's a lot of like the transparency and the scrubbiness. Like I don't want to lose that. I like the transition from the blue to the green reflection, but I feel like this side I need to kind of smudge it maybe a little bit to soften that.
Oh yeah, I see.
Because that was a little bit, it just wasn't reading quite like a, let's see if I go back. But it's like all the decisions should be made from like 10 feet back, you know? Because you can't even tell if it's happening or not.
I really like the brush strokes that you had in here trailing off, because it looks like a reflection. It looks really good right there.
Oh, thank you. I don't know, maybe like a light, like a blue leaning towards phthalo, and then little bits of that in here.
It would definitely take your eye into that.
Yeah, it'll create more sense of depth. And then bits of that in here. I do think the trees need to be darkened up a bit.
And how many minutes did it take you to do that?
Dude, this was like maybe 10 minutes.
That's crazy.
I know, it's like pre-thinking. I definitely had a clearer idea of what I wanted to do with this. Like, you know, like we were talking about, just that, you know, looking for a simple shape. So basically it is 3 shapes. It's like sky shape, water shape here, or sky shape here, And then just this big shape here. That I
You
think
just
is...
paint them in your head before you even paint them.
Well, I'm trying to be better about really thinking it out, because it just saves you like trying to solve a bunch of problems while you're working. Looks like you're keeping those strokes vertical too. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep the masses, what we've been talking about, is more of a like a unified, simple shape.
Yeah, yeah.
Discipline myself to get the block in done first.
Well, that's something you could do too. Like after you get the block in, is look at the painting in terms of like just pure abstraction. And you could say, okay, well, what do I want to, like, what bugs me? Like sometimes like a straight line like this right here will catch the eye. But this shape, like this, the grouping of trees there, that's like a really pleasing shape because it's like nice and irregular.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dude, this is actually synthetic.
Is it?
Yes, I love that. Are you kidding? That's incredible.
How do you know?
Look at it.
Yeah.
That's not natural. No?
No, probably not. Ivory, you know, you're right, the ivories are not natural. It's a synthetic, it's a version of the chunking bristle.
It's freaking brilliant.
Yeah, it's like a synthetic.
And that means it'll be durable. Like I was scrubbing away on this thing and it would have been like, that's awesome. Dude, I'm converted. Rosemary for the win. Wait. You don't have to do much here.
No, I do.
This only thing I'm seeing, right? That line now, like even if it was a little, I don't know, if I could put a rock in there or something, that line.
Right.
But wait a minute, what are you gonna?
Well, I'm thinking like I brought this color over there, and all of a sudden it kind of looks like that bank is in shadow, and then there's some.
There's some cool stuff going on in there. It's like really, the reflections look really effective. And there's something really, really nice about this area here, and the kind of reflections lead up in that direction. All right, so I think I'm gonna stop here. And, you know, I decided to leave the reflections just basically just scrub in. I like the fact that there is transparency and you can see the white of the canvas underneath. I tried to not like over define things and just like more or less suggest. The mountains in the background, as I talked about, I decided to make them blue, and then I added little bits of purple as well. But that's it. I love the edges that you've got, with these in the reflections.
Thanks,
also, like beautiful texture over here. And I like that you challenge yourself with like an unusual composition, like how the tops of the trees are cut off.
Yeah, it was a strange one for me.
It's cool though. It's
Struggle.
like, it's really cool. Like my eye gets drawn off into this area. I like how you put the little bits of purple off there.
Oh, thanks.
Very nice. If you want to get texture like this right here, then your palette has to look like this right here. Squeeze out a lot of paint and use it.